Yeah.
Are you going to let everyone in?
Yeah, everyone's there. Just no cameras.
Okay, so I can start.
You can go ahead, yeah.
Okay, so welcome everybody. It is awesome to have you all here with me today. I am really grateful that you have taken the time to be here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Nicole Mitchell, and I'm part of a team called Uncovering Greatness. And essentially what I bring to the team is I just help people with shifting mindsets. I help people, and I will help you remove any limiting beliefs, any limiting blocks, anything that's stopping you from reaching out, from having more, becoming more, and doing more. And today, I really just want to share some tools and techniques with you so that you can become better, become bigger, and start to win at the games of life. So if you can all hear me, I just would love you to type into the chat box just hello and let me know that you are there and you can hear me. So if you could just, those people on the webinar, if you can just type in hello, that would be awesome, because then I know that you're there. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Hello, Marina. Hello, Nicolene. Hey, Tabo, Michelle. Okay, awesome. Hey, Triska, LeMay. Great. So that is awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. I really appreciate it. So it's great that you can hear me, and I know that I'm talking to some people. And yeah, so just a little bit about my background is that I, a couple of years ago, I was my husband was working with Blair Singer. So essentially Blair Singer is one of the Rich Dad advisors, and Blair came out to do a program called Master Facilitator Program. He was teaching that program, and pretty much what happened is he actually said to Barry, you know, Nicole needs a little bit of help. I can see that she's struggling with life. And he wasn't wrong. He was 100% correct. I was in a space where I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. I was exhausted. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And Blair suggested that I get a hold of a lady by the name of Seal Stanford, who is actually one of Blair's, well, she works directly with Blair and Robert Kiyosaki. And they suggest, so pretty much what Seal does is she helps people shift mindsets. And I got a hold of Seal, and I did what's called the life and skills analysis. And basically what that is, it's this test here behind me. And you work out, are you in the green zone, the yellow zone, or the red zone? And pretty much when I started, I was down here at the bottom of the red zone, and I couldn't understand why. I couldn't understand what was wrong with me. I had a great husband. I had 2 beautiful teenage girls, and I could not understand why I felt like the world was closing in on me. And what I started working with Seal, and what she helped me find out is that I had had a pretty abusive childhood. My dad was removed from the house by the High Court, and so there was a lot of that sort of stuff that I hadn't dealt with. And as I gone through life, those sort of things had started to catch up with me, and it was affecting every area in my life. So if you can relate to that, if you can relate to things that you don't understand, but they know they're from your past and they affect your life, if you can type into the chat box for me, life, that would be awesome. If you could do that. And then, yeah, just what, oh, great. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Zelda. Thank you, Pearl. Thank you, Triska. So for me, what I realized is that I wanted to help other people uncover those limiting beliefs in their life, or those things that were holding them back from changing their life. And especially today, what I'm seeing more so than ever, especially with lockdown, is we're seeing that people are stuck. And all that stuckness from their past is affecting now. And it's affecting how they move forward. It's affecting the things that they do. It's affecting pretty much where they're at. And so today I'm going to share some tools and techniques to help people win at the game of life, because that essentially is what we're doing. And I say the word game. Life is a game. Relationships are a game. Business is a game. They're all things that we do every day, and often we don't even realize that we're doing them. And so one of the things that I'm finding today is a lot of people don't actually know what they want. They are clueless. And one of the things that I'm seeing is, I ask people, what is it that you want right now? And people go, I just want to get out of lockdown. And then I go, okay, great. So then what? Then what happens? And people are sitting in a space where they are waiting for something to happen. They're waiting for their circumstances to change. They're waiting for their boss to tell them, you can come back to work. They're waiting for a government grant, or they're waiting to get a tax benefit from the government. Oh, you don't have to pay this much tax. Or they're waiting for stuff to happen, or they're going after the wrong things. So if you can relate to either one of those things, where you're going after the wrong things. So like I see it today, people are, I know Michelle's on the call, and a lot of people are saying to Michelle, I've applied for this grant and this and this and this, and you need to help me get a tax reduction here and a benefit here. And the reality is people are going after the wrong things because they don't actually know what they want. And if this is making sense, I want you to type want into the chat box, please, for me. That would be awesome if you can type want into the chat box. Great. Thank you, Nicolene. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Zelda. Okay, awesome. So essentially, what is a want? And I liken a want to something that you as a person would like. It could be a dream, it could be a goal. And the reason why I like to use the word want is because everybody relates to the word want. It's something that you want more of, right? So the definition of want, according to Alan C. Walters, who was the founder of Advanced Coaching and Leadership Center, which is where I did my training in terms of learning the zones of life, where I met Seal Stanford. Alan says a want is the state of facing or lacking or having too little of. Something needed or desired, a wish or desire for something, craving, something needed or desired but lacking. So, and one of the things that I really want people to look at today is, what is it that you truly want? Because in the industry that we work in, a lot of people, their want is, I want more money. And that's great. And that is a genuine want, is to have more money. But the question I would ask you is, what does that money give you the ability to have? Because that is what it is that you truly want. So what are you going to do with that money? So yes, you want more money. So an example would be, I'll ask somebody who's unemployed, what is it that you want? And they'll say, I want a job. And I'll go, great. So what is the job going to give you? And they say, Well, it's going to give me money. Okay, great. And I know this seems really simplistic, but this is the process, the thought process, and it's important that you understand. We need to unpack the thought process so you can find out what it is that you want. So going back to the unemployed person, okay, so he wants a job. Well, why do you want a job? I want a job so that I can have money. Well, why do you want money? So that I can have a house. Okay, great. So that I can increase my standard of living. Great. So that I can own my own house. So now we have a want, because now that person is clear on what is it that they want. Well, they want a big house. So essentially what happens is a lot of people get stuck on, I want the job, instead of the actual want, which is I want a house, and going, okay, so what are some of the things that I can do in order to get that house? So a job is not necessarily going to allow me to get to the house. I could go and start a business that could allow me to get there. So in terms of, one of the things is, if you were to look at it and go, always begin with the end in mind. So what is that end? And the end is actually the want. So if you can relate to what I'm saying, if you can type end into the chat box, I would really, really appreciate that, because it's important that people understand exactly what that end is. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you, LeMay. Thank you, Annalise. Thank you, Nicolene. Okay, fabulous. So one of the things that I'd ask you to do today is to start looking at it from the point of view of, what is it that you truly want? When was the last time you sat down and wrote out a list of things that you actually want? And I often tell this story, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard the story, but I'm going to share it again because I love this analogy of it. If you ask a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old, what is it that you want? They will give you a list of 100 things long, and then Christmas comes along and they didn't get any of that. They got something completely different. They still get excited. They still get energized, and most of the time it's like over a cardboard box, and they'll spend hours with the cardboard box. But if you ask somebody that's 30 or 40, what is it that you want? One, they may not tell you because they're too scared to, and two, if they do tell you, like it could be, okay, so for all the ladies out there, I want a diamond ring. Okay, and then when we get it, there's this like disappointment of, oh, it wasn't quite the way I envisioned it, and oh, am I allowed to have it, and do I deserve it? And we start to question all these things around, do we give ourselves permission to actually want? And if you can relate to that, if you can just type in permission, I'll give you a nice long word to type into the chat box, but if you can type in permission, because a lot of us are not giving ourselves permission to have what we want. And the reason being is because we have all our energy got trapped up here in our past, and we lost sight of the dream and the goal. And then what happens is we start playing the game of life to not lose instead of to win. And we just go into survival mode. We go into, I just want to get through today. And that's what's happening now. People are going, I just want to get through lockdown. Just get me through lockdown, then things will go back to normal. But if you stop and ask yourself, is that what you truly want? Is that the ultimate? So the first thing I really want to encourage all of you to do is go, okay, great. So what is it that you want? So the number one thing you need to do is look at it. And I say number one, the number one thing you need to do is stop and write down all the things that you would like to have. So what is it? Is it a better job? Well, what will the job give you? If you have a better job, what will that give you? Okay, great. It'll give you more money. Okay, great. Well, what will the money give you? Okay, so Maybe it's you want a better relationship. Okay, great. So now you have the want. I want to have a better relationship with my husband. Great. So now the next thing you need to do is you have to, number one, make sure that is your wants. So if we go back to here, the first thing is you. You need to get clear on your dreams. So what is it that you truly want? And when you have created that want, the next thing you need to do is, what does that want actually look like? What is the vision that you have for that want? And I just want to stop you there because I'll stop myself there, not stop you guys there. But just really, if you just have a look at this chart, this is essentially where we sit in every area in our life, whether it's relationships, whether it's business. We're either in the red zone, the yellow zone, or the green zone. And the green zone pretty much would be here. You've got the smile is the right way around. You're happy. Life is easy. It flows. There's a lot of stuff coming and going. Opportunities arrive and life seems effortless. When we go to the yellow zone, we kind of like, it's okay. It's not great. So the yellow zone is, yeah, it's kind of some stuff happens, some stuff doesn't happen. Some areas are good, some areas are not so good. And then the red zone is, we have an upside down smile. So you just have to look around at people today. And I laugh, I say look around at people. Most people have got a mask on, so you can't actually see. But if you were to go pre-lockdown, if you were to go into a hospital, that's a great place to find red zone people. Upside down smiles galore is in a hospital because it doesn't have a great feeling for a lot of people. A lot of people associated with sickness and loss and a lot of negativity. But if you want to see both of these, a green zone and a red zone, a great place to do that is at the airport. You go to the airport and you go to the arrival section. And when people are arriving, you see so many people with huge, big smiles. And they're so excited because somebody that they love arrived back home and came into their space. Or if you go down to the departure section, you'll see all these unhappy faces because somebody that they love is leaving. And an airport's a great analogy of our life because we have some spaces in our life that are really green zone and some spaces that are red zone. And if you go back to your want, if it's a true want, it is going to give you a great feeling inside. It's going to make you feel excited. It's going to make you feel like it's something that you can go after, and it's going to create an energy and a vibe inside of you. Then you know that you have a want. If you're talking, and I hate to use the word job, maybe I should look at school. It's a big, a hot topic at the moment is schools are, people are looking, do I really want my child to continue in school? I just know myself. I look at it. I mean, every day we have something in our home that we laugh about when it comes to my youngest daughter, Danielle, and school. To give you an example, what happened this morning is she's like racing to get to her laptop and she sits down. And the next thing I said, what's happening? And she goes, I don't know. She goes, I don't know where the teacher is. And then about 5 minutes later, she comes through and she goes, oh, Mom, the teacher forgot that she had accounting. And so she's postponed our class to later. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And the reason why I share that with you is that Danielle's want is to not go to school. So when she came through and said, the teacher had forgotten. She was in a big green zone, happy, smiley mood, because suddenly she got the want. And a lot of children today are in that space where they don't actually want to go to school. If you can relate to that, if you type in school into the chat box, that would be awesome. Because I think school, we all can, I think a lot of us can relate to school. If it's not our children, it was us. And I certainly know, for me, one of my biggest things was I just want to leave school, and I couldn't see past that. And a lot of children today, or youngsters today, are in a space where they go, I just want to get out of school. Just get me out of school. And then you ask them the question, well, what are you going to do next? Well, I don't actually know. Well, what do you want to do? Well, I don't know. I suppose I should, go to university. Everybody goes to university. So that should be my next step. So, okay, great. What are you going to do when you leave university? Oh, well, I'll just find a job. Well, why do you want to find a job? And what we're doing is we're creating a lot of red zone wants in people, and they're not even aware of it because they're just following the system as to what it does. So if you can think about it, a want is something that you should get excited about, you should get vibrant about, and I don't mean in terms of I want to get out of lockdown, because a lot of people will get excited about getting out of lockdown. But what is the want, the reason behind getting out of lockdown? So I certainly know for teenagers today, the want is to be able to connect with people. And I say teenagers, but not just teenagers. The average person today, I just want to go and hug some people. That's the want. So if you can relate to that, type in the word hug, because there's a lot of people today that just want to go and hug a whole bunch of people. So Zelda says hug. So yeah, and Annalise, Kirsten, Nicolene, thank you. Michelle's got hug, hug, hug. So that's awesome. And there's a lot of us that we want to get out of lockdown, but understand why. What are you going to do next? And once you have a want, now you can start to envision, what does it look like? So if we use the example of giving people hugs, what does it look like? Okay, well, how am I going to plan that? How am I going to plan giving somebody a hug? Well, I'm going to walk up to them. I'm going to stop. I'm going to put my arms around them. So that's the plan. The vision is me holding them tight. And then I'm going to implement that plan. I'm going to literally go through those steps. And I may go like this and maybe a little bit different, and then maybe hug them around the waist or hug them around, their shoulders. That's me implementing it, and it's going to give me a result. Now that result, is that the outcome that I wanted? And one of the things that I see today and with a lot of people is, I want a job, and then I get the job, and now I'm unhappy because it's not actually what I wanted. The outcome that I wanted was, I wanted to actually, if I go back to the unemployed person, his want was actually to buy a house, not actually to get a job. And because he wasn't clear on the want, the outcome isn't clear. And a lot of people today are sitting in this space where I want to get out of lockdown, get me out of lockdown, and then they're not going to get the outcome that they want. And one of the things that also is a key expectation is, and I know I certainly had this discussion with our team, is that what is the expectation that you're creating when you get out of lockdown? What is the expectation you are creating in terms of the time that we're going to be in lockdown? I certainly know one of my friends, she was going, when we first went into lockdown, and it was 21 days, I think I can't even remember how long the first lockdown was going to be. And she was counting the days until the end of lockdown. And I remember saying to her, I don't think that's a good idea. And she was like, why? I just want to get out of lockdown. And I was like, I understand. But if you set yourself the expectation that I want to get out of lockdown and I'm going to count down the days, when something out of your control happens, you're going to crash. So what she started doing is she was counting down the days, 19, 18, 17, and then halfway along, what happened? We got told, oh, sorry, there's another 2 weeks of lockdown. So suddenly her 2 weeks went into however long it was. Now she's super disappointed because now my expectation just crashed because she had the wrong want in the beginning. The want was not to get out of lockdown. The want was to connect with her family. And the reason why she wanted to get out of lockdown is to connect with her family and go and hug her family. And she was literally counting the days until she could do that. But now what's happened is she's still not able to do that because her family lives in a different province. So now, we're now day, I don't know, 40 something, probably closer to 50 of lockdown, and she's still not able to go and do that. So what's happened to her mood level and her whole world has collapsed in on top of her because she was counting down on 21 days and not focusing on the outcome and the full want. So now what happens to everything she does? She can't get out of bed, she's disappointed, her whole mood level is based around her whole world has collapsed in on top of her because she focused on the wrong want, and the expectation that she created has affected every area of her life because now it's affected her business, because now, oh, I can't get out of lockdown, I can't work, I can't do anything, I can't create anything. Instead of focusing on the future of what can I create, how can I get myself to a space of I want to get out of here so that I can see my family, and creating the expectation that after a period of time, I will be able to see my family. So, and I think a lot of people today are sitting in that space where the expectation was when we come out of lockdown, I'll be able to go to the gym. I'll be able to go swimming. I'll be able to go and watch sport. I'll be able to put super sport on and there'll be a whole lot of stuff. And what's happening to people right now is everybody's expectations are being shattered and they're being crushed. So if you can relate to what I'm saying, type in crushed into the chat box. And I will wait for you guys to do that. Okay, great, awesome. Fabulous. Thank you, Marina. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, LeMay. Awesome. So people are being crushed and they're sitting in this space where they feel like the whole world is on top of them and they cannot actually move forward. So one of the ways to do that is to stop and go, okay, breathe. Where am I? What do I want to create? This is me. Where am I? What do I actually want? Okay, when lockdown's finished, what is it that you want? Okay, can I envision it? Can I plan it? Can I start implementing it? Some of the stuff we can't actually start implementing. But what can I implement now? And what is the result that I'm looking to create? Because for most of you, there are a lot of things that you can start doing right now that can change your life and can change the way you see things. So Alan Walters, who is the founder of Advanced Coaching and Leadership Center, who talks about being in the green zone and being in the right place at the right time, the one thing he says is the number one thing to keep yourself in the green zone is to take action. So a lot of us, and that's where in the beginning I was saying people are waiting for stuff to happen. They're waiting for their boss to say, oh, it's okay, come back to work. You know, they're waiting for something the government to say, okay, level 2's arrived or level whatever's arrived or things can go back to normal. People are waiting. So if you want to change where you are at, the number one thing you need to do right now, not tomorrow, not now, is take action, because that will allow you to win at the game of life. Stop waiting for somebody else. Okay. Now, some of you are gonna. So if you get that, I want you to type into the chat box action, because for me, action is the biggest thing that keeps us moving. When we sit, great. Thank you, Marina. Thank you, Karoon. Thank you, Tavo. Thank you, Pearl. Awesome. So action is what's going to keep you going through a whole lot of stuff. When you get stopped and you're sitting in the red zone, it's because something is stopping you from taking action. And it's generally these wonderful things that we have called emotions. Emotions basically is just energy in motion. A green zone emotion is, yay, I'm excited, lots of stuff happening. A yellow zone mood is actually anger. Anger is a yellow zone mood because people that are angry still move, they still create results. Sadness, despair, hopelessness, those are red zone because those keep you stuck, those keep you trapped and you cannot move. So, in order to take action, you need to go back to here. Where are you? What is your mood level? Okay. And Blair Singer teaches this. It's a little voice mastery technique. And Barry teaches it on the Sales and Leadership Mastery program. And that is, what mood level do you want to be in? Okay, so I'm feeling sad. Great. Well, what mood level do you want to be in? In terms of the technology that I use, I'll just ask you to tell me about it. Describe your mood level. Okay, great. You're feeling sad. Great. Tell me about it. And a lot of times when people can actually express the mood that they're feeling, they can shift. When you can identify where you are, what it is that you're feeling, why you're feeling the way that you're feeling, you can kind of go, oh, that's so stupid. Really? I'm feeling sad because of lockdown? Well, crumbs, how long do I want to feel sad for? I mean, seriously, I don't feel like feeling sad for the next 49 days because I don't actually know when stage 4 is going to end. And I truly hope that that is not the case. But that is the reality, is that if you stop and go, well, that's a bit ridiculous. I don't want to be sad for the next 50, however long. Well, what is it that I do want? Great. Okay, I want to be excited. I want to be happy. For the next 50 days, I am going to do my best and take action. So identify where you're at, what it is that you want, and then how are you going to shift out of that? What is the mood level? And once you've identified that mood, then start to put some things in place. Now, one of the things that Alan Walters, what he says is, in times of crisis, the best and the only profession to be in is sales. And the reason for that, salesmen create the future. And if you just look in history at all the greats, all the great people, you can go to Socrates, you can go to Jesus, you can go to Aristotle, Martin Luther King, anybody great. So maybe think of a great person in history and type it into the chat box, somebody that you can think of. That would be awesome. Give me some ideas of great leaders, great people that throughout history that resonate with you. If you could just type some of those names into the chat box, that would be great. So what, Winston Churchill, great, fabulous. So those people were leaders. Gandhi, Gandhi's a great one, Marina. Those people were great leaders. The other thing they were great salespeople. If you take Robert Kiyosaki, absolutely, they are absolutely unbelievable salespeople. And if I use Martin Luther King, his goal was he sold to people. Triska says Nelson Mandela. Absolutely, Nelson Mandela sold freedom to us. He sold the idea that we could have a rainbow nation and we could create something different. I mean, Karun says Donald Trump. Absolutely. Donald Trump is selling all the time. And that's why people don't like him. But aside from that, all the great leaders in history, they were all great salespeople. I mean, if I list them, Jesus, Martin Luther King, but all the great leaders over time were great salespeople. Hitler was a great salesperson. He may not have had the best of people's interested, but he sold. He sold to the right people. He sold to the people that bought into him, and he created futures. It may not have been a great future for some people, but he sold. And in times of crisis, the number one skill that you will need today is the ability to sell. And a lot of people are stuck on, I can't sell. Well, if you believe that, here's another tool and technique that I would like to give you to change that. Just stand and say that as many times as you can in as many different mood levels as you can. So, I can't sell. I can't sell. I can't sell. If you shout them out and you say those different things, you'll suddenly, after a period of time, you'll go, that's ridiculous. Look, I had to sell myself into a job. I had to sell myself on a career. I had to sell myself on a relationship, on a wedding. I had to sell myself on all those things. So we are all selling every single day. So if you can relate to what I'm saying, I want you to type sales into the chat box. Thank you, Zelda. Thank you, LeMay. Thank you, Tabo. Awesome. So in terms of sales, what are you doing to sell? How are you getting yourself out there? And a lot of that stuff, in terms of Barry teachers, there are people all over the world that teach sales, but right now, the number one skill that you need in this time of crisis is the ability to sell. Can you sell yourself to you? Can you sell yourself on a reason why you need to go and make a change in your life? Because when you can do that, you can go out there and you can start to create life. You can start to create the games of life and make a difference in not just your life, but the lives of the people around you. So when you can sell, you can make a difference. And one of the things that I would really encourage you to do today is start selling and sell yourself to you. And it could just be as simple as, I am going to get out of bed today and I am going to be in a great mood and I'm going to shift myself into a green zone space and I'm going to start to create something because I'm clear on what I want. I want to have a fabulous life. I deserve more, I can have more, and I can become more. And just by creating that positivity in your life, you will create more energy, you will create more vibe, and you will be able to focus more on what it is that you truly want. And then start, what is the vision? What does that look like? You know, and if it's health, what is it that you want out of your health? And start to do those things, because now is a time, and I say this on every single webinar, and I'm going to say it again, now is a time that you have to be exceptionally deliberate around your health. Because what the government is selling us and what the world is selling us is that COVID-19 is life-threatening. And it may well be. And it may not well be. But whatever it is, you need your health. You need to be exercising. You need to be taking supplements. You need to be starting to shift your mind into a positive space so that you have the right health. And by doing that, you will be able to sell yourself to you and you will create more and do more. So, is it exercise? I know for myself, it's been one of my biggest wins during lockdown, and it was one of the hardest things for me to do. Before lockdown, I had an operation in February. I wasn't allowed to do any form of exercise for 6 weeks, and I was devastated. then I did a course and what have you, and then we went into lockdown, and I had not exercised for about 8 weeks. And it was the hardest thing in the morning to do, was to get myself up out of bed every single morning and start exercising. And I was unfit. I was, yeah. If you guys can relate to what I'm saying, I want you to type fitness into the chat box. Okay, great. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Zelda. And for me, I said to everybody in our family, I need help. We need to, and what we did is we were deliberate. We registered and we joined our CrossFit group online every single morning at 7, from 7 to 8 every single morning. And we got up every single morning, and I think today is probably one of about 3 days that I haven't got up and exercised this morning. And that was because I had a client this morning super early. But I will do my exercise. I have booked a class either 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock, but I will exercise later today. But I was so deliberate around it that every single day I got up. And for me, a huge win was on, what's today? Anyways, yes, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday or Monday. We had an exercise class where I did 150 push-ups and 200 lunges in 20 minutes. And the reason for me why I was so excited was because when we started lockdown, I don't think I could do 5 push-ups. But because I've been deliberate around it, and because I've put that want in place, I was clear on what I wanted. I wanted to be healthy. I had a vision of what my body would look like. I started implementing that plan of getting up every single day, planning it. Every night before I go to bed, I go online and I book on our group and I let everybody know that I'm going to be there. Now I've created accountability. I implement that plan every day and I've got a result, and the result is an outcome that I want. And I would encourage you, do those things in your home around little things in each area of your life, because by me staying focused on my health, I can help other people do the same. I can help you do that because I'm doing it. What it's done, it's allowed my girls to do the same. They see Barry and I getting exercises or doing exercises every day. They're doing it. Now their health is, and what that does is that it puts us in a great place when we go out into the world and we have to face COVID-19 because we're healthy. The other thing we do, we take our supplements. Do we do it every day? No. But we're deliberate around it, and somebody will say, have we taken supplements today? Because our health, if our body is healthy, then our mind can be healthy. When our mind is healthy, we can focus on what it is that we want. And I would really encourage you, start looking at some of those things in your area, in your life, as to how do you create those wants. Well, just pick one area that where you can create energy and you can get excited about it and you can see the vision of it. So Marina says, I'm exercising every single day since lockdown and I nearly lost 5 kg so far. And that for me is so exciting, because what that does, healthy body, healthy mind. And I'm pretty sure, Marina, that you are in a position where you are able to start selling yourself a whole lot better than what you did before. Because now your mind, because your body's healthy, you feel better about yourself, and now you can start to do more. And that's where selling is so important. Salespeople create the future. They make the future happen. And the only salesperson in your life that is going to change you, believe it or not, is you. You need to sell yourself to you. You are good enough, you are big enough, you are strong enough, you are worth it. But you need to make the decision that's what you want. Because if you don't, you're going to go through lockdown and you're going to come out in 6 months and you're going to have no idea where you are, no idea what you want, and things are going to be tough. So start thinking and looking around you. And I teach this a lot, is around presence. Presence and being present is the number one an ability that you have control over. You have control over what you do with your mind. So being present is around stopping, taking a deep breath and looking at, where are my emotions? What am I doing? What am I feeling? What am I creating? Because when you can stop and go, where am I? Sometimes it's just, you just need to stop and go, where am I? Because you're in your mind and you're 1,000 miles away into the future of what you would like to have, but you have no idea how you're going to get there. You have no idea what's happening. You have no vision, no plan. You're not implementing anything, and the results that you get pretty much suck. But when you stop and go, okay, I'm here, right, what is it that I actually want? Okay, great. Those things that I was going through in my mind, yeah, I actually want those things, right? What do they look like? What do I need to do to have them? What action do I need to take? And what is the result? If I don't like the result that I get, that's okay. But it's way better than what I had. And I can go back and I can relook at the vision. What did I miss? What did I not know? What did I forget about? And now I can relook at the vision and go, okay, there were some things I wasn't sure of, I didn't know. Great unknown today is, when is lockdown going to end? So does that affect your plans? Does that affect some of the things that you're going to do? So if this is making sense to you, I want you to type in present into the chat box, the word present. And great. Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you, Tabo. Thank you, Michelle. Pearl, awesome. Annalise, great. Thank you. So in order to be present, you just need to stop. And there's a couple of things you can do. You can get on a Zoom call with somebody else and just say, would you be present with me? And you just close your mouth. We have one mouth, two eyes. So close your mouth, use your eyes, and just connect with the person on Zoom. Maybe it's in your home. You can just connect. I mean, kids love to play the game. Okay, let's see how long we can stare at each other. Okay, but give them permission to laugh and smile and what have you, and just connect with those people. What that does, you learn to connect with yourself. You learn to become you. Maybe you don't have anybody around. Maybe you're too scared to do that. Put on your phone and put it on selfie. Or maybe it's technology is not a thing. Look in the mirror. But one of the problems with looking in the mirror is you've got to face up to what's in front of you, and that's you. But that's where, if you face up to you, it's a lot easier to sell you to you. You can deal with you. Okay, great. This is me. These are all the insecurities that I have. Okay, great. Okay, good. What am I going to do about it? I'm going to start to shift. I'm going to take action, and I'm going to shift myself out of this red zone space where I feel fearful, scared, unconfident, and I'm going to start to go, wow, I can do something. What do I have in my control? Right, I'm going to shift into a green zone mood and get excited about stuff and start to understand, what is it that I can take action with? By taking action, you put yourself into a better space. You can look at things and go, great, the result I had is a result. It's not what I wanted. Okay, good. What's the vision? Change it, right, and keep going. A lot of people are stuck in the process of, it must be perfect. I must know exactly what it looks like. I must know exactly what to do. I must have somebody tell me what to do. Anybody relate to that? How many of you are waiting for somebody to tell you what to do? If you're waiting for somebody to tell you what to do, don't type it into the chat box, but know that that's where you're sitting. Are you sitting waiting for somebody to say, Oh, go and make 5 phone calls. If you're in a network marketing business, are you waiting for your upline to phone you and say, oh, have you made your 5 calls? Because guess what? You're going to be waiting a long, long, long time, especially when people don't know how long stage 4 is going to last, or stage 3, or what's going to happen. So stop waiting. Put yourself into action. Start selling yourself to you. And if you need to find somewhere to learn about sales, well, I mean, I joke, but yeah, get a hold of Uncovering Greatness. I mean, we have, Sully, maybe you can put, so Sully does all our back end, and he's posting the webinar for me, which is fabulous. So thank you, Sully. But Sully, maybe you can put the link for the Sales and Leadership Mastery Program into the chat box. That would be great. Because if you need some way to learn how to sell, Barry is doing a 2-day Sales and Leadership Mastery Program on the 20th, if I'm not mistaken, and 21st of May. And if you are looking for someone to learn how to sell, get online, go and register for that. Go and do that. There's lots of other ways that you can learn to sell. I know in terms of, there's so much out there today, but stop sitting and waiting for somebody to tell you what to do. Start taking action. Start putting yourself in the right place at the right time. The more you move and the more you do things, the more you'll be able to create. And that's how you win at the game of life. You create stuff. Not somebody else creates it for you. You create it. You make it happen. And if you are feeling stuck and unsure and don't know what to do and you are frustrated, please get a hold of us. Send an email to Nicole at Uncovering Greatness. So Sully, if you could put that in the chat box. And we would love to be able to help you. My team and myself are willing to help people. If you're interested in any of these things, please just type interested into the chat box and one of our team can get back to you and just help you become unstuck. Because a lot of people are sitting in these red zone emotions of anxiety, fear, depression, and they don't know how to move. And it's not that difficult. It is so much easier than what you think. When you are feeling like the whole world is crushed on top of you and you cannot move, there are people that can help you. And we are here to help you and make a difference in your life. And if you have got value today, and please just type in value into the chat box. And that would be great. And if there is anything that you would like to hear from us or understand more, please send us an email, and anything that you would like us to talk to you about, feel free to send me an email. So thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Zelda. Thank you, Nicolene. Thank you, Triska. Thank you all for being on the webinar today. But please don't stay stuck. Please reach out to us. Let us help you. Let us free you from that feeling of being absolutely collapsed and crushed and everything on top of you. And we can help you. So from myself and the team at Uncovering Greatness, I just really want to say thank you. We will be having this webinar next week, Wednesday. And I'd love for you guys, if you got value, to invite some other people. Sully will be sending out the link in our emails. Feel free to pass it on. Feel free, if there are people that you know that are sitting in a space where they feel like the world is on top of them. Most of those people aren't actually going to tell you. So, you know, if you've got value from today, send out an email. We love to help people. I certainly know myself. I've been in that space, and I just want to help people shift out of that space. So feel free to invite other people to this webinar for next week. And yeah, start winning in the games of life. If you have big wins, share them with us. We love to hear people's wins. We love to get feedback. We love to hear from you. So until next week, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate every single one of you that got on this call today. For those on Facebook that are taking the time to watch this, thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you in our world. Have an awesome, awesome day. And remember, you are worth it and you deserve to win at the game of life. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your week.